I love combining different crafting techniques such as scrapbooking and junk journaling together to create something beautiful. And a lot of scrapbookers use the waterfall technique, and why not put it in your journal? This one's closed with a magnet, and it's made just using scraps that you would have on hand if you're making junk journals. It's a great use of getting rid of the scraps, and I'm going to show you how to do it now. I hope you give it a try.
So the first thing you need is a page that you want to decorate. You can have one that's already in a journal or just take a piece of paper, fold it in half. If you're just making pages and they're not bound yet, that's fine. This is my idea book, my junk journal idea book, where I make things and I put a sample in here so that I can go back to them later and remember my ideas, because I sell my journals and I never see my idea again and I forget about them. So I like to have one of everything in this book. It's a fun thing to do. So the first thing you need is a bunch of scraps and a page. And I have a variety of scraps of different kinds of paper. I have vellum, I have meat packers paper, I have ledger paper, scrapbook paper, you name it. I have it in here, a magazine page. So, all the stuff we're always left over with after we finish a junk journal and do ephemera and whatnot. So I have a bunch of this. I have a blank page. I just need to decide how wide I want my waterfall to be. Now my page is almost 5.5 wide, so I'm thinking that 3.5 inches is going to be a nice width. I think that's going to look nice on this page, but you can make it as wide as you want. I'm also going to be making rectangles, so it's going to be longer than it is wide. I like that look, but you can also do squares. You can do triangles, and make a series of flags coming down. It's really up to you. So I think I'm going to do 3.5 by 4.25. The reason why I'm adding the quarter is because we are going to need to score the top and bend it over, and that's how it's going to attach to the page. So I'm going to cut a bunch of scraps and at 3.5 by 4.25, and then I'll come back. Okay, so here are my papers, and as I'm cutting, I kind of place them and I leave about 1/4 inch at the top as I'm going down, and that will kind of help you to see how much paper you need. So I definitely have enough paper here. And the next thing you want to do then is, let me get my scoreboard, just turn them to the side and score each one at 1/4 inch and fold it back. If you don't have a scoreboard, just measure 1/4 inch and fold it back so you have a little flap.
And here I'm using Tim Holtz Vintage Photo, and I'm just inking all the edges just to make it look a little more polished and to make the edges stand out in the waterfall. Now you just need to decide which one you want on the top, because that's going to show the most. And I'm
Pretty sure I want this one. And let's just decide on the order. Oh, actually, I cut this one too narrow, didn't I? Oh, darn. I made a boo-boo. Hold on, what did I do? Yep, cut this one too narrow, but that's okay. It can stick out. I'm still gonna use that as my cover. and kind of find a little bit of an order here. So like I said earlier, there's some variety. And I think that looks very nice. So let's put our first one down. Now, and I'm just going to keep it in order like that. So you need something on your flap. You need either glue or tape. I like to use my tape runner. It just makes it super easy. And I'm just going to place it where I want it to start. Okay. Now, here is where, oops, not too much. Here is where a lot of people go wrong. If you don't place these correctly, you end up getting something that is not even. It kind of looks looks like this by the time you get to the end. So we want these all to be perfectly lined up. So the trick for that, oh, you know what? This is the one I wanted here. Silly Willy. Let me just pull that up. That's the nice thing about the ATG. Okay, so whatever one you want showing the most is going to be the first one that you put down. I'm sorry. Okay. So laying the subsequent ones is the tricky part. Now, what a lot of people have a tendency to do is just line these up like this. That's the wrong way to do it because that's how you're going to end up getting things off kilter. Because if this isn't perfectly level like this, if it's at all tilted, which this one kind of is just a little bit, you're going to keep going down at an angle. I hope that makes sense. So what you want to do, I need more tape on this one. Okay, what you want to do is you want to kind of put it there, but don't put it down yet. You want to line it up with the edge of your page and then put it down. Okay, so I know that this is kind of lined up. And now I'm going to put it down. And whoops. There. Okay. So now when I close it, I have a nice edge here. So let's do another one. Let's do this piece of scrapbook paper. Okay, I know it's going to kind of go right there, but let me line it up. And actually this one I need to pull out a little bit because I cut this too short, remember? So it's going to go right there. That is good. Just going to set it down, look at it one more time. Maybe move it over a little bit. Okay, that looks good, and it's going down. So I don't know if you can see, but there is a little bit of a gap there on this side. So if I pushed it all the way up against the other one, it wouldn't have been straight on when I close it. I hope my explanation is making sense. So next I'm going to do this piece of antique book page. And I actually think that's as far as I want to go. And you can put something under here too if you want. What's really cool is what if you put a little surprise envelope or something like that underneath. I'm not going to do that right now, but I could put one of my little folders. That would be pretty. Have a little surprise under there. Might do that. Or you can just leave it blank. It's really up to you. Now, one thing that you can do if you want to dress this up a little more is you can decorate these little flappy areas here, and that always looks really pretty. So I'm going to find a piece of scrapbook paper. I actually want a little pop of color in this because it is so monochromatic, so I chose this paper here. And I'm going to cut strips that are just under a half of an inch. Just under, by the width of my page, which is 3.5. And then you can take all these little strips and you can glue them or tape them down on each of these, and it just really makes it look so much more polished if you want that. Not everybody wants polished in their junk journals, but when I do these in a scrapbook, I always finish these off because it just, like I said, makes it look neater. So I'll just do one here. Okay. Oops, that one's a little too wide. I'll fix it later. So the next thing, the last thing that is an option is for a closure. And let me show you how to do that. So the first thing you want to do is decide what color you want. I'm still wanting a pop of color here, so I've decided to use more of this pink scrapbook paper. And you want paper that's a little more substantial, about the thickness of scrapbook paper, not something like this or antique pages. It's not going to hold up as well. So kind of audition it and see if you like it on top of there, and I do. So I cut this down. This is about 3/4 of an inch. And you want to figure out where you want it on your first page, and sort of, because everybody's is going to be a different length, just sort of go down maybe just under your bottom sheet there and give it a little fold. Okay, and then you can cut the most of the excess off. Leave about an inch here. So what we're going to do is glue that down and then come up and affix a magnet here. I do like to round my corners on my top one. And of course I want to ink it up. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. And it's pretty to have a brad in the top. Let's do that. And don't put any a big clunky brad, because we're going to be putting a magnet in that spot too, so you don't want it too thick. My paper trimmer needs a new blade. And I'm just going to actually fold it down like that instead of opening the tongs, because this is all going to be taped down in the back. So now we want to put our magnet down. And I get these magnets, they're rare earth magnets. I get these at Harbor Freight for really, really cheap. And I like them. They work really well. So I'm going to put the magnet down, see which way it's going to not react with the metal brad. For this, I do like glue. Oops. I have my fan going because it's so hot and humid. So audition it to make sure you know which side goes down. So you put the glue on the correct side. All right. And then what we're going to do is put another piece of paper on the back of this to hide that magnet. So you want to have it be the same width and length as this. You don't have to cover this piece. Okay, so I cut another piece down. I'm going to round my edges. Ink it up. And then I'm going to glue it down right there. Okay, let's just make sure that's all nice and even. Make sure you put good glue around the edges, especially where that magnet is. And you might have to just hold it down a little bit because it's going to want to pop up because there's stuff under there. Then normally I would let this dry fully, but I'm going to keep going here. Then we want to put it on here, and I'm going to use my double-sided tape so I don't have to mess with my glue again. Put it on where you want it, and then press it down. Okay, so now we need to put our other magnet up here. And I'm sure that other magnet I took out is stuck to something now. Oh, it's not. Here's how I like to figure out where the second magnet goes. I drop it on there so that I know the proper orientation. And then I will put a little dab of glue there. Fold it up. Now I have a little dab of glue where my magnet needs to go. And I can just put it on there. Now we just want to do a little something to cover over that magnet. Yeah. You don't have to, but again, we're just kind of polishing this off. One option is to cut a little circle out of the same scrapbook paper and have that be there. And but I don't have any more of this scrapbook paper, so I think I'm going to cut a circle out of this. This is just texture paste that I was playing around with one of Tim Holtz's stencils. It kind of looks like a soccer ball. I don't know how much I like it. I think I'm gonna just make it not quite as white once I cut it out. Looks like a soccer ball. And I am just going to, oh, let me ink the edges up. Cover it up with some glue. And normally we want to let that dry, but there you go. If you want something bigger to peek out, you can do that too. But there we have it. There's a fun waterfall. When I make these for scrapbooks, I make these the perfect size for wallet photos or those Instax photos. I think that's what you call them, that are a specific size. Really super fun. Super fun technique. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you try it. It looks so nice in the journal and gives you extra journaling spots and photo spots. And you can even, so you can put photos on here, you can journal, you could even put a tiny pocket on these. I don't have any good paper right now, but make a little pocket and put some little things in here, like, you know, little pieces of ephemera or something. There's just, the possibilities are endless, but the thing is to try it once and then go from there. Unleash your creativity. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a like if you appreciated it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.